Hi, my name is Dana Arnett, co-host of Wicked Marketing, along with my partner, Carlos Cepene. You can find more information about us and our business on LinkedIn, or if you have any questions, email us at info@wickedbionic.com. Subscribe to Wicked Marketing on Apple Podcasts and write an awesome review for us. We're also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Google Play.
Hi, this is Carlos.
And this is Dana.
So today we're going to talk about how to plan your social media effectively.
Why not?
Why not, right?
Right.
So I think a lot of people focus on looking at their social media as sort of like a ongoing process where they
fun.
Just they
Well,
come up with a theme and they just post stuff
and
about
it's awesome as a person, an individual, fun to do that, right? But
Yeah.
as a business, and that's really what we're talking about planning your social media, because it'd be kind of weird if you're just this person and then you find out your next 3 months of your life to post on social. It'd be kind of weird. So we're talking about businesses.
Yeah. So when you think about it as a business, you want to have a plan in place at the very basic so that you have some sort of guide as to the sort of things that are relevant happening in the world, events, things, holidays, so that you're planning ahead of the curve. The last thing you want to do is a week before Christmas start posting about Christmas or start pushing your
that Instagram wall lives, so then people are going to know that, oh, they just woke up, it was Christmas. I see now in January, I see all those 10 posts.
Because by then you're too late, right? So what we like to do is use something called editorial calendars. Mm-hmm. And for those of you that are not familiar with editorial calendars, they're basically schedules that have at the very top level highlights of events that are important throughout the year that we all know are happening, right? Mm-hmm. So things like the holidays, New Year's, Hanukkah,
special
Christmas, festivals, depending on what your product or service is. And one of the biggest reasons why you want to have an editorial calendar is because people connect with products or services based on interest, right? And one big way to connect with people based on interest is through utilizing holidays and events. Right. So if I am planning for Mardi Gras, right, and you have a product and service that is relevant to the southeastern United States, for example, because Mardi Gras is really big in places like Louisiana. You would want to have that on your editorial calendar so that you can start planning posts that are relevant to Mardi Gras.
Right.
So why is the reason for that? Aside from the fact that people have interest in those specific holidays, that's the type of content that goes into what I like to call discovery mode, right? So it's the time when people are looking to discover new things about that specific topic. So if I tag my posts with Mardi Gras, with, any sort of tags that are related to that particular event, then as people are discovering posts around that event, then your post will be there. Right. So that's really when you want to take advantage of those moments to connect with people with something that they're already interested in.
Relevance is really helpful because there's all these other days of the year that there isn't necessarily much going on, and you're going to have to find that content as well. So it's great to build. I think your point is really well taken, to build based upon kind of get your bones of things like holidays or special events that might apply.
So, this podcast is being recorded right around the holidays, beginning of the new year.
Yes.
So in our editorial calendar, we're already planning. We've planned the holidays. We're planning for the new year with a New Year, New You campaign.
Yes.
Right? So every year is a New Year, New You. And so that's the sort of thing that people are going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for a new start in the new year. And what can we post that is about a new start?
It taps into that, yes.
For us, from a marketing standpoint, for our clients, for the different products and services that they promote. So let's give an example of that. If you're in retail, for example, New Year, New You, and you're doing, let's say you sell men's shirts, right? Just coming up with a trend for the new year, new year, new colors for you, maybe, right?
New
and
look.
Then new look. And then hashtagging everything that has to do with hashtag New Year's, hashtag 2020, hashtag this is 2020, because that's going to happen.
Many.
So making sure that you have that content circulating, because not everyone on social media is out there looking for new shirts, right? Or new colored shirts, but they're out there looking for New Year's posts, right? And New Year's ideas and New Year's festivities in their area. So it's a unique opportunity for you to grab your product or service and tie it to an interest that people are looking for.
Right.
So in marketing, you should never wait for people to express an interest in what you have. You need to figure out a way to relate to people.
Well, and get in the conversation, right? Which is why Twitter has all of its trending things. And in the old days, that was so relevant to, it's not relevant now, but to jump in on the current trend, to be able to get your voice into the conversation.
Yeah. So the purpose of marketing is not only to get people to know about your product or service. It's to get people to connect at an emotional level with your product or service, to create an interest, to create a need, a want for your product or service. And the best way to do that is by looking at what people are already interested in.
Right.
In order for you to do that effectively, you need to be creative about how you're going to tie your product or service to that specific event. And that's not something that's easy for everyone to do on the fly. Right. So that's something that needs time and thought to be effective. So just putting out there a picture of a shirt and hashtagging it New Year, New You
one time
doesn't do anything.
Well, and
because
I think
it's not tying it to
it is,
the interest
it's just
or
a
the
thing.
emotion. It's a thing you're doing.
It's a thing. And one great thing, just think about it as your day planner in the old days, or your calendar, your Gmail calendar, is that you're getting to get this overall, as you fill it in, picture of your brand. And you can move things around and you can start to get, what's my feeling? It's a lot of discovery, I think, especially in the beginning. Right?
So in order for you to do that effectively, you need to plan ahead.
Yeah.
And you need to start thinking about the holidays in October.
True.
Even though now they're posting Santa out there in October already before even Halloween.
We can't do it.
It shouldn't be done. But for you as your brand and as your plan for marketing, in order for you to be effective, you need to be able to create that idea or concept that ties your brand to the interest that people are going to be looking for. So slapping the brand out there is the same as putting up a website and never doing SEO on it, right? It's not if I slap it up there, they will come. You actually,
We've used that so many times on websites.
God.
If you build it, they will come. I've never heard that if you slap it up
there. If you slap it up there, they will come.
That's funny.
It's just not. It's it's a great idea.
It's not a strategy.
Actually,
it's not a professional strategy.
It's not an effective strategy, right? So the purpose of leveraging discovery is to connect based on the interest that people are in discovery mode for. And I've talked about this in podcasts before. The advantage that there is, for example, to jumping on an early social network, right? And keeping up with what's happening out there is that not so much whether that social network is going to survive the early adopter, but it's the discovery time. Right. So people are going on it. They're figuring out, do I like this? Do I hate this? Is this going to be something that's going to be part of my life? And as they're going through it, they're in discovery mode. What is this new thing that I'm looking at, right? And so when you talk about events, it's the same thing, because even though it's the same event every year that's on your editorial calendar, people are in discovery mode, right? So they're like, what's happening this year for Christmas? What's happening this year for Hanukkah?
You know what I will do often, because I'll look for events. We're looking to go do something on a Saturday night, events in LA, just looking for something different to do. And sometimes super easy. I get the LA Times calendar comes up, and all these things come up. Images. If you click your images instead in Google search. But I think it's so I like when the variety comes up. So it is important to put yourself out there in ways that are applicable to the thing that's going on, because I want to learn about all different kinds of things and options. So I think it's important to be out there.
It is. And in social media, this has been overused in some cases, because within social media in particular, there are specific like Flashback Friday and all these specific terms that everyone jumps on. Right?
Now it seems dated, isn't it? Like, whatever. Throwback Thursday. It seems dated.
Yeah, it's so.
The older people are still doing it.
Yeah, but it dilutes.
Yeah,
it dilutes because there's so much out there.
Agreed.
Whereas with events, they're not specific to a social media, repetitive.
And they go away. And they go away.
And they go away. And they go away for a while, and then they come back. So when you're looking at creating your editorial calendar, you really want to put together a whole year of what is happening throughout the year. And you don't only want to look at the top level events. What I call top level events are the events that happen every year at the exact same time. But there's other events in your area. There's events that are local. There are events that are regional, that are big events, right? So for us in California, things like Coachella. Coachella is a big event about music.
Oh, a huge event. And I was going to say, and what we do for the Los Angeles Public Library is we are looking at all their Latino, the Hispanic events, things very specific to our area in the city of Los Angeles.
And that's a great example, right? So those are local events. But if you're more interested in growing regionally, which is something that a national brand can do as well, is look at the regional events and create content targeted to that, and make sure that you're showing up for those people, right? So there's, in Miami, for example, the Winter Music Conference, right? That's a big event. There's a lot of people that travel to Miami for the Winter Music Conference. So how can you create content that's going to connect with people in that moment that they're searching for information related to the Winter Music Conference, in particular in that regional area? So that's something that you can do both organically and paid, because through paid marketing, you can actually create what's called a geofence. So you can say, I want this ad only to show up to people in Miami only, a couple of weeks before the Winter Music Conference. Right? So those are ways to connect. Those are things that the bigger brands take advantage of because they have bigger teams and they think about all these things. But it's not a matter of budget. It's a matter of dedication for you.
And plan. And so it doesn't matter what size you are. The big guys, trust me, you guys, the big guys are planning their editorial calendars just like everybody else, because that's business. That's part of the business.
And if anything, if you don't have the money and resources, then at least plan a market per year, right? So if you say, I want to grow my sales in California, or I want to grow my sales in the city of Los Angeles, or I want to grow my sales in Tallahassee.
Wichita, Kansas,
whatever. Just create an editorial calendar that's crafted towards that specific community.
Right.
And you'll be able to track, you'll be able to see your growth in that specific community.
Which is almost more fun, because it's hard to see growth nationally. It takes a long time and a lot of money. Yeah. It's hard to see growth in the city of Los Angeles.
If you have a lot of money,
it doesn't take a lot of time. But in the city of Los Angeles, that's a huge market. So, it takes time to see that as well. But again, based upon money. But in your smaller communities, so much more effective. But so we were going to talk about the editorial calendars, and there are tools out there. We use paid tools, but there are tools like Plannable and Hootsuite and Buffer. These are all great, simple, very user-friendly, I would say all of them, especially Buffer. That is a way that you can lay out your social media like Carlos is talking about.
Yeah, so you can lay out your calendar, you can schedule your posts. So just because you planned Christmas in October doesn't mean that you wait till October to schedule your posts, right? So if you have, every business has sort of a slower time of the year. If you have a slower time in October, then that's a great time to plan your posts for December, right? Because there's some hashtags that are predictable, right? So like Christmas 2020, that's going to be.
You think that's coming?
Yeah, you know. So New Year's 2020,
Right.
whatever. They're all coming, right? They're all going to repeat. And one thing that you can always do, if you're interested in really testing these sort of things, is pay attention once the holiday arrives to what are the most popular hashtags that you see.
Right.
On your own feed, on the feed of your business, because though it's highly probable that a lot of those hashtags will repeat and just change the year,
Right.
the next
Very
year,
true.
right? So keeping track of things like that will help you pre-plan for next year. And once you see your sales increase, once you see that that the interest is causing the engagement that you need in order to drive your sales up, you'll even want to play more in it and pay more
true.
attention to it, because we are driven by results, right? So play with some of it, maybe do just the top level events of the year, play with it and plan ahead, because you do need that time to test your messaging, to make sure that your messaging is relatable, to make sure that it's going to get the reaction that you want. And don't be afraid to be sassy, but also
have fun.
pay
Have
attention
fun
to
with
it.
it. Yeah, and what's great is you plan. So you'll make the plan, and you'll literally lay the image out in the calendar. You'll lay out your hashtags and your text. You're going to plan the date that it's going to go out. So let's just say we are planning a month. You'll have this whole calendar filled out, and it'll have all the dates. So when it's on, basically automatic, you wake up in the morning and that post is done, whatever time you've scheduled it for on whatever day. But you can always go back in the editorial calendar and move it to another day, or change the text that you want to do the day before. So you can, if you lay out the bones of everything that you want to put in there, if something starts to trend more and you want to add a different hashtag, you can go in there. It's all your calendar to do with as you wish.
And that's the thing, right? If you have your post created and you have your post scheduled, and then the holidays are arriving and you're noticing that there is one other hashtag that is trending, well, you don't have to go create a post. You already have your posts. You go in there and you add the hashtag.
Right. Or if you are selling clothing and some shirt that looks like something that you offer is selling really well and you happen to see that, then you start using your shirt as something that is like something else, and
that's the
advertising
thing,
in
because
that way.
if you've had your calendar planned and your post pre-scheduled, then it's not a matter during your busy time of having to do social media.
Right.
It's a matter during your busy time to add one post a week or two posts a week that are based on stuff that's really
yes.
trending and
Yes.
really engaging, so it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Because
Take advantage
7
of your
days,
business lulls.
how much do we recommend? I mean, we do 7 days a week for some clients. We do 5 days a week for some clients.
Some
It just
clients we
depends.
post 3 times a day.
Sometimes 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3 times a day. So planning
Sometimes
certainly
more,
in our
depending
business
on
is
what it is.
everything.
Yeah.
So it's certainly when it's a bigger account, it's everything. So it's really but for a basic business owner, would you say that there's an amount, or does it depend on their type of business? Or
So there's many theories about the amount. I recommend at least 1 post per day should be posted to your social media. But what really matters about it is the engagement on the post. It's an engagement, as we've said before in our podcast, is likes, comments, shares, but also stops. And this is what people forget, right? So you may have, and this happens with clients of ours, we just did a report for one of them and it was impressive. You may think that a type of content that you're doing is not effective. And then when you look at the engagement, it's not effective because it doesn't have likes, it doesn't have comments, it doesn't have shares. But then you look at the engagement and it could be
how many views?
Incredibly engaged post. And that's because people stopped. So remember always that, like in everything in humanity, there's multiple types of people, right? So there's the passive observer, which is people that like to look at things and they don't like to engage with them. They don't like to comment, but they
Those
like
are all
looking
the
at them.
ghosts on Facebook.
It does. It doesn't mean that they're not going to buy your product.
Of course not.
They may just put them on a list like Dana doesn't write it on paper.
The old-fashioned way.
The
Still
old-fashioned
works.
way. Yeah.
As long as you don't lose that paper.
Exactly. Or take a picture with your phone.
Yes.
I tend to now, which is weird, I tend to save ads now. I bookmark
Take
them.
a picture. Oh,
No, so
bookmarking
some
them.
different social networks have different capabilities, but I personally almost never engage with ads. I'll click them, but I don't comment. I don't like ads.
Right. No.
What I will do is save them. And then because it is a product or service that I know I will need later on at some point,
Sure.
either for what we do or for me personally. And so that's engagement, right? If I'm saving it, that's a big engagement.
Right, because they can see that,
Mm-hmm.
and mine is I'm stopping long enough to take a photo on my phone of it
Yeah.
of that ad, and then I know. So that's how I've been tracking things lately that I want. They were my photos. So
Yeah. So think about that, right? It's not only looking at posting stuff out there that is engaging from a like, comment, and share perspective. It's posting stuff out there that people want to take a picture of.
that's why the visuals matter.
Take a picture of. They want to save for later. And this happens all over the place, right? So like I was talking to my partner the other day, and he has his people in his family create lists on Amazon of the things that they want throughout the year, and then during the holidays they just exchange.
the wish list.
They share the wish list amongst the family.
Great idea.
So that way you know
Great idea.
what people want, right?
Yeah.
So people store things, they engage with things in ways that you can't always measure by likes, comments, and shares.
And I think also to that point is that, we think if we don't get an immediate response from something, or I don't get an immediate sale or an immediate reaction, if people are doing things like we've just talked about, what Jim does, what you're doing, what I do, that's very different ways. It means that I might just buy it later.
Yeah.
So that it all does matter. It might not be the instant sale, but it's the behavior.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So planning to engage with people, planning based on interests for people. And when you're planning, making sure that you're doing so in ways that are creative, that are about connecting with the interest that people will have at that time, more so than pushing your product on people's face. Right. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves with a lot of the advertising campaigns out there that people do. It's not about telling people what you do. It's not about showing people your product. It's about connecting with people and what they want. Think about what the person on the other side wants about your product.
Right.
What is it about your product that's going to make me want it? Want to engage with it? It's going to fulfill a need. It's going to resolve an issue. It's going to provide me with value.
And these are mine. What one always stops me on Instagram and Facebook is there'll be a woman certainly much taller than me, much skinnier than me, and younger than me, but whatever. And they're wearing these really cute black pants, and they call them the travel pants, right? So that you can wear them anywhere. They fold, they pack. It stops me every time because it's an attractive person. It's in video, which is always interesting and engaging. And they say in the text exactly like, this will make my life easier when I travel. No wrinkle, and it looks good on you and all that stuff. And here's the things that you can wear with it. Stops me every time because they're filling a need that I didn't even know I have because I'm not necessarily traveling tomorrow, but I do travel. So I might need it eventually. And I bought them. I mean, that's that same kind of thing. It's a need. So the need could be very small and an unknown need at the moment, but it gets people thinking that this might be something that might be just perfect for me.
And that's the thing, right? So think about those things when you're creating your content and your editorial calendar, when you're creating your ads. It's like those ads sometimes that I see. This is the best product in blah, blah, blah. Or being called the best product. Being called by who?
Yeah, in the old days, you didn't quote somebody as saying that they reviewed this as the best, unless it was true.
Yeah. And I'm like, by who? Who
Joe,
are these
Joe on the
people?
street corner
Because
said
your
it was
mom
the
said
best.
it? Yeah, your mom liked it. No, that's not doing it for me.
Because I don't even like your mom.
Yeah. So think about what is it that it's going to do for me as the consumer, right? What is it that you're solving? What is it that, and why is it relevant to me right now, right? Why is it that, like going back to our New Year, New You, What is it that your product does for me that it's going to help me start my new year?
Right. Feeling good.
Feeling good about myself, feeling good about where I'm going.
That's why the best advertising is for gyms, in December and January.
Oh, they know, because they know.
It's great, and we're all the same. Nothing changes. So
they know. That's their holiday period, right? So that's when gyms can make they're very aware that that's the time when they can make the most money.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why, just to wrap it up, it is important for you guys to think about what is it that your product or service does for someone during a specific time of interest in a time of year. And in order for you to be effective at that, you need to plan. You need to do it with time. And it doesn't mean that you need to do it during the time that is your busiest time. It means that you can do it if you have an editorial calendar, if you have a plan. You can do it during the lulls in your business, and every business has
That's
its
a great
lulls.
idea. Yeah, that's a great idea. And as again, we said that the 3 tools, Plannable, Hootsuite, and Buffer, are 3 that we use
And we don't
or have
make
used.
any money off of it, by the way. So
Oh, yeah, I would
we're
really
just
like somebody to pay us to
That would
advertise
be
for
great.
them.
Yes.
Wait, someday. Anyhow, thanks so much for listening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening today. Don't forget to subscribe to and share Wicked Marketing on Apple Podcasts and write an awesome review for us. We are also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Google Play. See you next time.